Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, Super Saturday at Keeneland. Hugely important Breeders' Cup prep races, even more so because this year the Breeders' Cup is at Keeneland. Race number 9 is for the 2-year-olds. It's a prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Let's throw up the full field for the Claiborne Breeders Futurity. We're going 1 mile and a 16th. $600,000 is the purse. An overflow group, 14 in the body of the race. 15 Carmel Road, 16 Jintong on the also eligible list. Grade 1 stakes winner Forte gets the 2-turn test for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, he's going to see if he can stretch it out here off of the Grade 1 hopeful win going 7 over a very wet track, which we'll look at later. Boy, there's a lot going on here. The trips are going to be very, very important in this race.
Pace is going to be very important as well. A lot of these horses stretching out. A lot of these horses have shown speed. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Maiden winner Loggins expected to be close to the pace. I really think Mr. Lucas is sending the 6 Bourbon Bash, and Baffert usually doesn't come to sit with his horses. I think the 8 Newgate's going to be on ascend as well.
Yeah, Newgate seems like a pretty fast horse. They didn't really go with him last time in a race where 2 of his stablemates went to the front. All he could do was chase. I think they will be more aggressive here. And I agree with you, Dan. I think they're going to show speed with Bourbon Bash. The only time actually his debut was fine, but the only win on his card is when they sent him in a sprint at Saratoga.
Number 1, Frosted Departure. You see him mid-pack on your pace projector. This is a horse. Both of his lifetime wins have come when he has been up close to the pace. Not sure that's going to happen in here. The fraction's likely to be faster than they were last time out at Churchill Downs going 7/8, where he got to the front, controlled a moderate pace, and then blitzed on home.
Yeah, he won that race very easily, and it was a nice step in the right direction as far as figures go, Dan, but he also had a pretty soft trip that day. I was just more concerned with that race, the stakes race at Ellis Park, that he sandwiched between the 2 wins on his card. I just didn't think he ran well that day, and I don't like that field.
The 2 is Loggins, and this horse is going to get a lot of attention off a super impressive debut going 6.5 at Churchill Downs. He earned a 90 Beyer speed figure. He showed easy speed to sit just off the leaders. He made a nice bold move on the turn, and he was on his way. He's by Go Sapper, the Dam, a Grade 3 stakes winner, going longer on the turf. Distance shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about distance with him either. He was really impressive winning first time out. And he was also very professional, unfazed by sitting in and among horses for a long way in there. Once he got clear, he easily took over and powered away. Very, very impressive debut.
Is worth noting that that was a field chock full of first-time starters. Only 2 or 3 horses in that race had previous experience, so still the jury's out as to what Loggins beat in that race, but he certainly won the right way. The number 3 is Honed, and this horse might get lost in the shuffle from a wagering standpoint, even though he's run well in both lifetime starts. He came from out of it to win his debut. Not easy to win going 1 mile first time out. He did so in an off-turf race. And then last time, second in the Iroquois at a big price, he took advantage of a fast pace to get up for second.
He did. It was a little bit of a step in the right direction, though. I don't know, Dan. I thought he ran fine winning that debut that came off the turf. It was only a 4-horse field. He worked really, really hard to get the job done that day. And then in the Iroquois, all right, they took a hold of him, took him back to last, and let him make a late run in there. But he had a shot at that race, and he wasn't quite good enough. Overall, Dan, I'm not sure how I feel about that Iroquois. I'm not sure that was the best race as far as this division is concerned.
He's a son of the hot first crop sire Sharp Azteca. That's the 3 Honed, who will be ridden by Julien Leperoux for Ken McPeak. The 4 is Confidence Game, and Confidence Game tried 2 turns last time out in the Iroquois. He didn't run very well, but he was close at least to that pretty fast pace. Maybe you could give him a mulligan for that, but even so, he has to improve. He's going to be a giant price.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, he was closer to the pace than several others in there. He was also wide, basically, all the way around the track. So maybe those are excuses enough to want to give him one more chance here. I didn't want to give him another chance, but I can certainly understand anybody who does. He's going to be a huge price.
The 5 Instant Coffee had shown some promise in his workouts leading up to his debut at Saratoga. He'd been working with Brad Cox's Verifying, who won his debut on the Travers Day undercard, and then just recently ran on the board second, I believe, in the Champagne. Let's watch Instant Coffee's debut later in the Saratoga meet. He broke from the inside post. It took him a little while to get going, but he settled very professionally along the inside. Being inside horses didn't faze him. The trip also worked out very well, but he ran fast.
Yeah, he did. The race comes back pretty fast. He did have an awful lot of room down on the inside there, but he's dead game here with this horse taking a run at him through the stretch, and he fends that horse off to win clear. It's a pretty big gap to the rest. This horse is another one, Dan. He worked pretty hard early on in that race to sort of, he's sort of ridden along throughout there, almost like sprinting isn't exactly what he wants to do. Maybe he'll really stretch out effectively.
And that race was a 7/8 of a mile race. Again, horses with a lot of stamina usually excel going 7/8, especially first-time starters. It might bode well for his ability to get the 2 turns here. Bourbon Bash is the 6. This horse ran on the Hopeful last time out. He caught a sloppy track. That's probably the ready-made excuse, as well as the fact that he couldn't get as close to the pace as usual. A little bit of a bumbling break. He has speed.
Yeah, maybe there's a rebound coming for this horse here. Enough excuses in that Hopeful to maybe stay positive on him. He did run a pretty fast race, and he won very easily when he broke his maiden 2 back.
The number 7, Forte, won his career debut at Belmont. Had a little bit of an excuse in the Sanford. There just wasn't a lot of pace in that race. I don't think the race flow really worked for him. But last time out, a lot of things worked for him in the Hopeful. Let's watch this performance. Grade 1, 7/8 at Saratoga, sloppy track. The pace setter, Gulfport, almost bolts on the turn. It gives Forte a big opportunity to shoot on through, and he takes care of it after that.
Yeah, the trip really worked out, but this horse also ran really well in this race. He was pretty impressive, I thought, winning his debut back at the end of May. He just scattered that field behind him. I thought he had an excuse in the Sanford. He took another step in the right direction here. It's all about whether he can stretch out that. I'm a little concerned that he may not want to go this far, but he's a contender in this race for sure.
He is a son of violence. The 3rd-place finisher of the Hopeful came back to win the sloppy Champagne with a 91 Beyer speed figure. Newgate is next, chipping from the West Coast for Bob Baffert, an expensive son of Into Mischief. The dam was graded stakes place as a 2-year-old. Newgate won his career debut going 5.5. And then he faced Cave Rock, who I think most people would say going into this weekend is the best 2-year-old in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this horse, another horse who was really impressive first time out. He had really good speed to win going 5.5. They ran him in the Del Mar Futurity. Baffert had a few others in there as well. And they just didn't really get aggressive with Newgate from the gate in there. They let the other 2 Baffert horses go. They sort of sat on the rail and chased, and he really couldn't make an impact. He's going to run better in here, and I think he can stretch out.
And he should be close to the pace. The 9 is Fantastic again, going out for Wesley Ward. Washed off the turf last time out, his 2nd career start. This race is at Saratoga, going a mile out of the chute. Fantastic again, I think, caught a pretty weak field. You see, he's got them all strung out. He keeps on going. The pace wasn't very fast that he set. I'm concerned about the field he beat and whether he can keep up to faster fractions this time around.
Yeah, it's going to be way tougher for him to be competitive with a field like this one. Not that he didn't do, everything that he had to do there in that Saratoga maiden. When he was entered main track only that day, he got in. The only horse who did any running outside of him was that runner-up who was a first-time starter for Pletcher. But that horse seems like he's turf meant, and he came back and lost as the favorite in his turf debut shortly after that race.
Pletcher has the 7 Forte. He also has the 10 Lost Ark, who might be the best bred horse in this field. He is by violence. Not only is he a half-brother to Idol, winner of the Grade 1 Big Cap, he's also a half to Nest, who's currently the best 3-year-old dirt filly in training. Lost Ark's already won around 2 turns. He did so in likable fashion in this race, the Sapling at Monmouth, where he sat just off the pace. He professionally goes on by. I like it when you come from off the pace at Monmouth. That track can be notoriously speed-friendly. And this horse is trending the right way. He's improving very slowly. He might get the right setup here.
Yeah, he looks like that kind of horse where they could, sit a little bit with him if this pace gets fast as it's supposed to. And that's exactly what happened in the Sapling that we're watching right now early, Dan. They contested the pace in front of him. He just sat in behind. They took him clear in the stretch. He won for fun. He was really impressive, taking down a well-meant first-time starter in his debut also earlier this year. This horse is good.
Our next two entrants will be trying dirt for the first time off of maiden wins on the grass. The 11 is Red Route 1, another running son, a gun runner, trained by Steve Asmussen. He scored at Kentucky Downs last time out. Distance isn't an issue. He's a full brother to a stakes winner on turf. I do think there's enough pedigree here for him to handle dirt, but he's going to have to improve.
He's going to have to improve, but I'm with you. There's plenty of pedigree here to suggest that he's going to be fine on dirt. He's a gun runner. The Dam was an unraced sister to Untappable, who, of course, is Asmussen's top dirt horse, filly and mare dirt horse from a few years ago. So this horse is bred to handle it. We'll see if he can improve on the main track. Tough post.
The 12, Good Heart, also a tough post. He's trained by Brendan Walsh. He's by the very versatile young stallion, Good Samaritan. Good on turf, good on dirt. Maybe he's passed on those genes to Good Heart, who worked pretty hard every step of the way in his career debut over that quirky Kentucky Downs course. I think this horse, even though he's light on experience, I think there might be a little bit something here, but it is a big ask, first-time winners.
It really is, especially when he draws post 12 with a ton of speed to his inside. So we'll see what he can work out. I'm with you, though. I liked his debut quite a bit. And if he can handle dirt, I guess you could maybe throw him in there somewhere at a big price.
Here's a horse that I think has to be sent from his outside post, stretching out off of 3 sprints. It's the 13, Two Fills. Let's watch his last race. This is a stakes at Canterbury, going 3/4 of a mile. He got up close to the pace in this race. He draws off to win as Tons the Best. 71 buyer, continued improvement in all 3 starts. I think there are a lot of concerns about his overall quality, concerns about the distance as well. He's by hard spun, and his Dam was a sprinter.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to stretch him out here. And we'll see. He's obviously deserves the chance. He won this race, as easy as can be against stakes horses at Canterbury. Can he stretch out? Can he make the lead from post 13? How hard, if he does make the lead, how hard does he have to send to get there? It's a lot working against this horse.
The 14, Powerful, the last horse entered in the body of the race, has started twice for Steve Asmussen. Stereo 75 buyers at Saratoga, just missed as the favorite in his debut, did some good work in his second lifetime start. This son of Nyquist is a little fighter, and he's going to get the job done in here over 2 next out winners. The 3rd place finisher coming back to win with an 82 buyer the other day at Aqueduct.
Yeah, I thought he ran fine in both of his starts at Saratoga. I wasn't, blown away by either of them, but you're right, Dan. He really enjoys a good fight. He's dead game here to get the job done over 2 next out winners in this spot. I like his races just fine. I didn't really want to bet him back in this race, although he'll be a big price if you like him.
2 horses on the also eligible list. Carmel Road, the 15, ships in from Baffert off a win going 2 turns at Delamar. He did earn a respectable figure in that race, but he would have to overcome a tough post and a difficult pace scenario if he gets in.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, this would be the Baffert horse I prefer, but if he does get in, he's going to have a difficult post to overcome.
And Jin Tong simply must improve for trainer Doug O'Neill. He was well beaten in the Iroquois last time out. Top pick time, Breeders Futurity. Important prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Mike, you're going with Lost Ark. He's proven around 2 turns. He's trained by the great Todd Pletcher. He might get the right setup, and he's got a pedigree to die for.
Those are all the reasons that I took him, and he's also not even close to being the favorite on the morning line, although I guess we'll see how that plays out. I thought there was enough to like here, Dan. I'm going to take him. Very interested to see how your top pick, Loggins, runs. I put him 2nd.
Unfortunately, I think Loggins is going to take a little bit more money than maybe he deserves stretching out 2nd time, but he was so impressive in his career debut for Brad Cox. I really want to see what we get. I think this horse might be the goods. 2715 for me, 10215 for Mike. It's the Claiborne Breeders Futurity, important Breeders' Cup prep race, stacked card at Keeneland on Saturday. Good luck.